Hi, it's John here. I'm in the rectory garden. The weather's not so good today, but it is. We're now in British summertime. Whenever I'm in British summertime, I remember it was the first British summertime after Jill and I had been married, and I had a great plan. I had a great plan for getting rid of the rubbish from the work that I'd been doing in the house. I had a bathroom suite to get rid of. I had a washing machine to get rid of, and I said to Jill, I said, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to bother with a skip, so I'm going to save money. I'm going to dig a huge hole in the garden and put everything in. I made a raised flower bed, looked lovely. She said, no, you want to get yourself a skip. It's pointless burying it. Anyway, she had to admit it looked lovely when it was buried, which it did. And then 2 years later, this raised flower bed got a big hole in the middle, and the soil just seemed to disappear. And the next thing you knew, a toilet pan appeared out of the ground, and then a bit of a washing machine. And of course, what had to happen was, I had to dig the whole thing up, and I had to get rid of everything, and it was just, I felt foolish. I was annoyed. I had to buy a skip, and I had to admit that Jill had been right and I'd been wrong. If only I'd listened to myself. If only, if I'd rather listened to Jill and not to myself. If only I hadn't been so mean about wanting to spend money on the skip. I could have saved a lot of embarrassment and a lot of time. Well, there is an if only in our gospel reading today. And the gospel reading today is from John's Gospel, and it's chapter 11, the first 45 verses, John 11 verses 1 to 45. And the other two readings that are set for today, I'll give you them as well in case you want to look them up. It's Ezekiel 37 1 to 14, and it's Romans 8 6 to 11. Anyway, the gospel reading for today, it's Mary, Martha and Lazarus. Mary and Martha's brother Lazarus was ill, and they'd sent for Jesus and said, will you come, because your friend is ill. Well, Jesus didn't hurry. He took his time, and by the time he got there, sadly, Lazarus was dead. And the amazing thing in this gospel reading that hits me every time is the way that Martha pours out her grief, but she also pours out her faith. You see her grief in the way that she says, Lord, if you had been here, then he wouldn't have died. If you'd come quicker, then Lazarus would still be alive. But then, after Jesus had spoke to her and said, look, I am the resurrection and the life, and she made this amazing statement of faith. She said in verse 27, she said, Lord, I know that you are the Messiah. That's a fantastic declaration of faith, and it's all the more authentic because of the situation and the sadness that she was experiencing. If only had been here. She was sad. She was probably a bit angry, yet still she was able to express that faith. I'm sure you know what happened, and I'm not spoiling anything by saying to you that Jesus went on and Lazarus was raised marvelously from the dead. And one of the good things that we see in the Romans reading from Romans 8, 6 to 11, we're assured there by the writer of Romans that the same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives in us day by day. And that Ezekiel reading, 37, 1 to 14, it's the famous Valley of the Dry Bones, where God is saying that he will restore and renew his people. We can be sure that whatever happens as we journey through our lives, whatever happens, God is with us. We can be sure that it's okay to express doubts and fears and disappointment, as well as expressing faith and expressing hope. It's okay to open ourselves to God. It's okay to be confused and angry. So our journey with God continues as we head through this next week and into Holy Week. Our journey continues, but it continues with a great God. And we know that whatever happens in our lives and the lives of our friend, that God is supreme, that God has victory over death, and nothing can separate us from his love. I hope you have a great Sunday, and I hope you're able in some way to worship God in your home. 10 o'clock today, I will be praying at home, and I hope that you will pray with me. May we all be blessed as we journey on together. In the name of God, who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.